So, what do you do when you're on a deadline to get an RV moved so that you can save a bunch of rent money on the lot where you've been staying? In my case, I went to church last Sunday and talked to a guy who's good with vehicles and said, I think I need some help. And he said, okay, let me help you. Sure do appreciate that. And in the process, he said, yeah, well, I probably can't do it this week because I've got a project I'm working on. And I said, how about if I pitch in on that and then you help me after? So that's what happened. Got to spend the week, something I wouldn't have expected to be able to do. And really looking forward to showing video. If it gets a bit long, please hang in there if you can. Play it at faster speed or something, but I'd love for you to see what happened when we took some salvage wood and turned it into something for a new property that these folks are renting out. And I sure enjoyed doing it. I hope you enjoy watching it, and I'd love to know what your thoughts and comments are. Thanks so much for subscribing, liking, sharing, and putting some comments in there so that we can interact about what you're seeing and what you're thinking about the projects that I'm working on. Blessed and grateful. Thanks. Sometimes little dreams come true. I can't tell you the number of times I have looked on Craigslist and seen, oh, old bowling alley wood, salvage wood. Why don't you buy this and do something with it? And I can't afford it, but a friend from church said, hey, I'm working on something. I said, oh, let me pitch in. I don't have to work on Monday. And so we are taking apart old bowling alley lanes in order to turn them into countertops in a chiropractor's office. And I am thrilled to be getting the chance to participate in this. I'm just doing grunt work for the most part, and I am so glad I get to be doing it. I'll try to give you an update when we see how it turns out. 8 cut to measure, 1 to go. This is some amazing wood. And there may be a few scraps that I might get to throw in the back of the truck on the way home and maybe make some use of myself. And look at these screws. What are they? 75 years old? More? They don't grow pine like this anymore, and they don't grow screws like this anymore either. This quarter cable belt sander may be as old as these bowling alley floors. I think we're getting down to wood past the finish. Staying away from this because we got to glue and clamp this. But I'm going to bring some glue tomorrow and we'll work on that. I'm also going to bring my belt sander. But I think we did finally start getting down to wood. This mask has been sitting in my shop for a long time, and I've had it longer than that, and I really need it today. This is the counter that I showed in a previous video that trying to get the coat off of it. It's some kind of polymer, some kind of urethane, heavy, thick plastic coat. And I tried 3 different things to this point. Tried the grinder, which tended to get pretty cuppy. I had to be real careful with that, and I wasn't completely successful. Tried my new Bauer belt sander, which worked okay, but that stuff is so thick, it's just going to take forever to get it off that way. And I've ended up with my trusty Wen hand planer, and setting on the 3rd setting. I don't think I'll get good light here. The 3rd setting is between 1/64 and 1/32 is just about right to get the top layer off almost completely. So I'm going to do on the 3rd setting all the way across, and then go to the very finest first setting and skim it one more time and see if that doesn't finish it up. This is going so quickly doing it like this. There is absolutely no comparison. And what a pleasure it is to get to work with this wood. This is incredible. Old pine. Great stuff. And I think it's going to work out with this planer to get the coating off of it so that we can then do a stain and put these in as office counters and desktops. Really blessed and grateful. The planing and sanding project continues. We took 4 of the counters and desktops over to the building where they're being installed last night, and we got 5 left that have been planed, at least rough planed, and I'm using the sander and the planer on the lowest depth, and I may use the grinding wheel a bit, especially on these sides where this, I think it's maple, gorgeous maple wood, had the glue runoff all over it. You need to clean that up so that we can get a good trim piece to face up on the front of this. But this wood is, again, I keep saying this, pretty amazing, and you just don't have time to grow pine like this anymore, do they? Love to know what you think. What have you tried to salvage from some old other use? Recycle, upcycle, reuse, and how's it gone for you? It's going okay here, and really enjoying the chance to work with this friend from church and try to help him get this project done. Gonna keep going now. Not done yet, but it is kind of at a initial completion point. These are the last 2 sections that needed to be planed a little bit more and then sanded. And we did a 60 grit and a 120 grit. There's still some unevenness, but going for the rustic look, I'm going to use a pre-stain on these, I think, and then some polycrylic, I think water-based polycrylic, to cover them again. Notice that this is the before. This is what these looked like.
Hey, oh my goodness, look at that.
Still not completely finished. As you can hear, work continues on the office as a whole in the background. But now there are 3 coats of polycrylic on the bowling alley sections that are now set up as counters. And I think they've come out pretty well. They're supposed to be kind of rustic. They have been trimmed out with just pretty much raw lumber that was just to clean up the edges. But the alley boards themselves have taken the polycrylic really well, and I just feel so blessed and grateful I got to be a part of this project. And as an extra blessing,
there are a few cutoff pieces that I am going to get to take home and see what I can do with myself on my own projects. I think I might be able to make a little table out of at least one of them, maybe two. Anyway, you know, it's been a long time. I don't have a whole lot of money to actually like put in an offering plate or whatever, but I have time and I have hopefully developing skills. And this is a friend from church that I've been able to volunteer and help out this week. Learned a lot in the process and had some great fellowship. It's part of the privilege of being on Debt End Street. Thanks for coming along for the ride.